Shri Chaitanya Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyutapadakammalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे can somebody remind me where we are starting? I think chapter 12 text 15 if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Prabhuji. Chapter 12, text 15, Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Mataji, please read.
Chapter 12, text 15. Yasma nodvijate loko lokan nodvijate chayaha harsa marsa bhayodvegai mukto yah sacha me priyaha. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Text 16, do you want me to read, Prabhuji?
No, Mataji, I'll recap and then we'll get there.
Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, last verse where we ended was one who is not envious, but is a friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So Krishna is describing devotee qualities, right? And then he continues in text 15, he whom no one is put into, he by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone. Very important to understand this, right? So we don't put anybody in difficulty, no matter how, nice or not so nice they are. We don't put them into difficulty. And we are not disturbed when we are put into difficulty. How is that possible? How would a devotee not be disturbed when put into difficulty? How can you be equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety? Krishna is saying such a person is dear to me, but I'm asking you, how is this possible? Not to be disturbed in a difficult situation. What does it take? Or rather, let me ask you first, why do we feel disturbed in a difficult situation? What is it about difficult situations that make us feel disturbed?
Expectations, Prabhuji, of the world working in how we want it to work, but it doesn't work that way. That's why in Bhagavad Gita it says, Dukhesvano Dvignamana Sukhesu Vigataspriha Betarag Bhaya Krodha Stita Dhirmani Ruchyate. So that I could relate to this, that if we are like, if we can be equipped from that. Like if we are being like we are seeing, we are not in duality, we see it's a part of how it is and we accept it as it is, not like expect the things to work in our way. I feel like that could be the way towards.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add to that? Why do we feel disturbed in a difficult situation? Then we can discuss about why, how not. Yeah.
Adding to that point, what I understand is like we feel alone, like nobody is there to help. So when we are as devotees or aspiring devotees, we know Krishna is there to back us. He is the supreme well-wisher of ours. So whatever he decides for us will be the best for us. And he gives us the power to deal with the difficulty.
Okay. So Chandrima, I will push you a little further, okay? So you mentioned that in difficulty we feel alone. So why is feeling alone a problem?
Feeling alone in the sense that we are not sure who will understand our problem and who is the right person to approach. And when we are in this succession, we know, like, we have our mentors, we have our
I'm not asking the positive part yet. I'm just
Okay.
asking the negative part right now. That why do we feel disturbed in a difficult situation? So you said we feel alone, and I'm asking you to dig a little deeper. Why feeling alone? Is it not a good feeling? What is it about being alone that bothers us?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna,
Nobody
Prabhu.
to share. We won't have anybody to share our problems, anybody to understand how we are dealing with things, gives us suggestions. Maybe that.
Okay. Yogesh, then Aparna.
I just wanted to say that sense of belonging is absent. So that's why we feel lonely.
The question wasn't why we feel lonely. The question is why we feel disturbed in a difficult situation. What makes us feel disturbed in a difficult situation? Now, for Chandrima, it was feeling lonely. For somebody else, might be something else. And I'm trying to dig deeper than that. What is it at the core that makes
The
us
aspect of uncertainty.
Okay. That's a very good point. Uncertainty. All right.
Uncertainty will just drive a man crazy. So
What will happen? What will happen? Yes. Okay. Aparna?
Yes, I agree with the point that Yogesh Prabhu brought, like uncertainty of the outcomes, and also when we give the control, of our emotions, or even after having, not having control of all senses, we would say, like in true sense, and giving the control to the external circumstances. Thus, not feeling fulfilled in oneself, not feeling fully capable of handling the situation. Thus, in some way, giving the control, the remote control to the external factors.
Okay. Purnandu says overthinking. Okay. Overthinking about what? What is it? Overthinking by itself is not the problem, but overthinking of what? Where are we going with this? So when somebody loses a job, somebody is, about to lose a relative, maybe that person will die. So in that distressful situation, what is it that's disturbing us? Anybody else wants to add to the thought process?
Fear of unknown, Prabhuji.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen.
So we got loneliness, we got uncertainty, we got fear of unknown. Okay. Giving the remote control to somebody else, losing control. That was something. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to add?
Probably the fear of failure as well.
Fear of failure. Right. Okay.
Fear of future. Hare Krishna.
Fear of future. What's going to happen? Yeah. So, and that's where Krishna consciousness comes in. Like Chandrima was very beautifully coming to that point, which I wanted to kind of wait a little bit, that because Krishna's there, the support system of devotees there, the mentor, the guru, all of this support system is there, that we can overcome this sense of loneliness or lacking control or uncertainty, etc., etc. So I'm going to approach these points one by one. So feeling of loneliness, right? Yes. Oh my God, I'm alone against this massive problem. Will I be able to deal with it? Right? Now, what happens when we are in Krishna consciousness? The thing is, we feel Krishna's presence in our life, and of course, Krishna's devotees are also present. So there is a system of, support where you feel, okay, somebody's holding my back, somebody's there. At least I tell myself, hey, you know what? Krishna is there. He's going to take care of me this way or that way. I am his property, and it's his prerogative to protect me. So let me surrender to Krishna and take the action that I need to take to deal with the situation. So that loneliness is overcome by the presence of devotees, where Krishna is obviously there, but Krishna's devotees are present, help you through. Somebody lost a job in one of our, I think it was Detroit or someplace, and there were 3-4 devotees immediately pulled in their contacts and connections of their in their office, what roles are available and whatnot, and helped him update his resume, get him into some interviews and whatnot. So that's very practical, right? And what is that practicality? The fact that these people are helping each other out in a very practical way. They would have never known each other if it was not for Krishna consciousness. They wouldn't have cared for each other if it was not for Krishna consciousness. But because they're all devotees, they're all connected around Krishna in the center. The relationships are Krishnaized. So as a result, they feel the need to care and love for each other because Krishna is in the picture. So in that kind of a support system that Srila Prabhupada has created called ISKCON, we feel not lonely anymore. There is support. In terms of uncertainty, when we look at the history, whether it's Srimad Bhagavatam or the history of our own lives, we see that how Krishna has protected me through different situations, how after coming to Krishna consciousness, life has become better, how in the scriptures we see, although there are difficulties, at the end, devotees are always receiving Krishna's mercy, receiving the shelter. We feel that, okay, it's not uncertain. One thing is for certain, Krishna is not going to leave me. So there is that certainty we anchor onto, we hold on to, and then we go through whatever difficulties that is there. We anchor on that everything can fall apart, but my relationship with Krishna is not going to let go. So I'm going to hold on to Krishna and go through this situation. And whatever happens, happens, but Krishna is not going to leave me. So that certainty is there, right? Then the statement was, losing control, right? The control is gone. So that's the problem. When we feel we have any control, we don't. So control is in the hands of Krishna. Now, losing control is actually an illusion over illusion. We don't have control, and the sense of losing control, that's something else, right? So first of all, we should understand we have only so much control on things where we can have an influence on. Almost 90% of the things we don't have an influence dealing with other people. So losing control is like, hey, be in Draupadi mode. Krishna, please help. You're in control of everything. So if you so desire, you can help me. But also I understand the point Aparna brought forth was like, giving our lives remote control in somebody else's hand. Like we are angry at someone and we want to hurt that person, and that person doesn't even know, but we are feeling that frustration, holding on to the hot coal in our hands and getting burnt, and the person we are angry at doesn't even know that this is going on. So in that way, one is giving away control, but it's not really that the person who you're angry at has any control. It's you who has lost control of your life. So, and that's where again Krishna consciousness comes in terms of the knowledge that nothing is in our control except for our own will, our own situation, circumstance that karma has brought forth. And in that situation, we can make certain choices. And there are things we can't control. No point fretting over it, right? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Can I get a yes?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, awesome. Internet is working. Because I go talking and then people are like, oh, okay. Now, so that's one thing. Who did I miss? There was something. Oh, fear of failure. Again, fear of failure. How do we define success and failure, right? So success to us, different people, is different things. Of course, one form of success is one's net worth. It can be holding on to a job. It can be having a certain car, a certain lifestyle. It can be making Krishna smile. That is success. It can be feeding a lot of people, poor people, whatever. So success is different for different people. So failure is dependent on whether we are able to meet that success metric that we have set for ourselves or not. So fear of failure is, will I meet that success metric? Now that if success metric is material, we might not meet it a lot of times, right? Even the most successful people fail a lot to succeed, right? That is actually the secret formula for success. You've got to give yourself ample opportunities to fail so that you succeed. Because success is rare, failure is prevalent. So unless you have enough opportunities to try it out, you might not succeed. If you try once or twice, your odds are against you, right? If you're investing in stocks, let's say, it's one or two stocks that are going to give you massive returns, and most of them are going to just be okay. Some of them are going to give you, pretty bad losses, but hopefully it'll all at the end work out to be profitable. But if you don't invest in a portfolio of stocks, you invest in one or two stocks, it's highly risky. And that's where it comes in divesting, right? The concept of hedging, hedge funds comes in. Anyway, I'm not going to get into finance. But the point is, the more opportunities you give, the more opportunities you have, to fail as well as succeed. But if there are not too many opportunities, then it's most likely that one would fail, because failure is more in number than success. So now Krishna doesn't care about that failure though. Krishna cares about our success at the end of our life, thinking about Krishna and coming home back to Godhead. That's Krishna's prerogative. Whatever it takes for us to be in a positively Krishna conscious lifestyle, where it's easy for us or easier for us to be in a comfortable space where we can practice Krishna consciousness, remember Krishna, and whenever death comes, we can think of Krishna and go back to Krishna. That's the idea here. And that is what Krishna's goal is. And if that means one has to be fulfilling one's dreams to feel Krishna's presence, if that means one's biggest attachment has to be taken away so that they can be, put into, they can be serious about the Krishna consciousness, whatever it takes, Krishna will do, right? I know one of my closest relatives, she lost her son. And then she became serious about Krishna consciousness. And after many years of that incident, I one day told her, I'm like, do you feel that was a good thing or a bad thing? This is a mother talking about losing her son, only child. And she said, well, actually, it was a good thing. I would have never become Krishna conscious if I didn't lose my son. I would be constantly worrying about him, worrying about my, taking care of this, taking care of that, never take it seriously. But now that he's gone, I really don't have any other option but to practice Krishna consciousness. For her, that was required. It sounds horrible. It sounds harsh when I say that. But to him, as his own. So in other people's cases, I have seen where their dreams have been fulfilled to the degree they never thought of, and that gave them faith in Krishna. And out of gratitude, they became Krishna conscious. That, my God, Krishna did so much for me. I have to dedicate my life for his glorification. I have to dedicate my life to spreading this Krishna consciousness for the next generation, right? So different people need different doses to become Krishna conscious, and Krishna is only looking for that. To him, success, failure in terms of materialistic things really is not very important. What he cares about, because for him, it's just one material life is like a breath, not even a breath, it's a spark, right? Mahavishnu is breathing in, breathing out, universe is creating, universe is annihilating, 4.2 billion years, done. So what is our 50, 60, 70 years of life? Nothing. So for Krishna, he's not even worried about like all that. Now, but at the same time, he's not going to hurt us also. Don't think that Krishna doesn't care about our dreams, our aspirations, because he knows that's important to us. And to whatever degree it won't hurt us, he will give it to us. And to the degree it will hurt us, he won't give it to us. There are people who can handle money, and there are people who cannot handle money. So people who are given money they cannot handle, it will destroy them. Like people who win lotteries, they get destroyed a lot of the times because they're not used to handling such massive sums of money. And there are people who can take money and grow that money, invest that, and make it big, and they can handle Lakshmi Devi. So they're given it that abundantly, so that they can responsibly use that not only for their own welfare but for the welfare of others. So Krishna gives us material benefits to the degree we can handle it, to the degree it is helpful for our spiritual life. If material progress is detrimental for our spiritual life, he might not give it to us. So be careful and think intelligently how you can maneuver around that understanding. Because once Krishna is in your life, he is on your chariot and he is driving your chariot. So you need to know how Krishna thinks, right? Is Harish here today? I have a dear mentee named Harish, and at the very beginning of his Krishna consciousness, he was sharing with my best friend that, oh, whenever I'm in difficulty, I pray to Krishna. And my best friend jokingly told him, well, then Krishna will keep bringing difficulty so you can remember him. Might as well learn to remember Krishna when there is no difficulty. It's like, my God, I never thought of it like that, right? Because that's what Krishna wants. He wants you to remember him. He wants you to be Krishna conscious. So when he's in your life and you need difficulties to remember him, he'll give you more and more difficulties. And if you are remembering him and things are good, then he'll give you those good, happy situations that help you remember Krishna. So it's your choice. And that changed Harish's trajectory in Krishna consciousness, right? So the point is, we need to understand what Krishna's prerogative is. And accordingly, if we want material things, we better know what Krishna's goal is and align it that way. If the material things moves us away from Krishna and is a reason for forgetfulness of Krishna, he might take it away. So know how to deal with it. And I'm giving you hints. I think you can understand. I think there was a point, Ragni Mataji brought it. When prayer becomes habit, miracles become your lifestyle. Very nicely said. When prayers become habit, miracles become your lifestyle. Yes, remember Krishna and miracles will happen every day. When I was especially doing youth preaching, college preaching in Chicago, there would be devotees, young, new devotees running and coming to Krishna house and telling me, Prabhuji, you won't believe what happened. Krishna's doing miracles left, right, and center. And this will happen every day, every day. I will get used to it. This is what our life looks like. When Krishna is part of our life, miracles happen every day. This is the dating phase. Also understand after this, Krishna is going to give difficulties and he's going to test if you really want him or you want those difficulties gone. Because when you pray, he can easily get rid of the difficulties. But if you want him, he will really test you. And then he will give himself to you. And that's bhakti, where Krishna becomes your property, right? Initially, he'll test. He'll be like, let me see. You want that money? Here's the money. You want that dream come true? Here's a dream come true. You want that? Do you still want me? That you got your dream and everything covered? Most people are like, no, I don't want God anymore. I got everything covered. Life is good. Let me enjoy. Krishna is like, very well, go for it. Chapter 8, Krishna says 4 kinds of people come to me. Artharthi. That's the first one. People who come for artha, money. Then comes the jigyasu types, right? People who are like curious, inquisitive. I want to know what is this all about. So with them, Krishna also gives them the knowledge and then they're satisfied. If they go with the knowledge like, I got the knowledge, now I'm going to write books and I'm going to do this. Sure, go for it. Do you still want me? No, I don't care. I'm going to just be all speculative and knowledgeable and show off, right? But then the devotee, he says, no, Krishna, I want you. Thank you for making my dream come true, but I want you. Okay, here is some difficulty. Do you still want me? Yes, Krishna, I still want you. In spite of the difficulties, I'm not going to leave you. Okay, let me test and see. Do you want me or do you want that wonderful person you've been wanting, to date or to marry? You still want me. Interesting. Okay, here I am. I'm your property. I'm yours and you're mine. Right? That's how bhakti works. So we should understand Krishna. He is driving our chariot. How Krishna functions. If we understand that, we can align our dreams, our aspirations, our bhakti all nicely with how Krishna wants us to be. And chapter 12, text 13, 14, and 15, Krishna is talking very vividly about how he wants his devotees to be. Okay, am I sharing the screen? I think so. He by whom no one is put into difficulty, who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. So this equipoised word comes up often in Bhagavad Gita. If you notice, Krishna mentions it multiple times. Right? And also in Srimad Bhagavatam and all the Vaishnava scriptures where Krishna is speaking, first person singular, whether Krishna or in his incarnation as Kapil Dev or his incarnation of Prithu Maharaj or whoever else, Krishna and his incarnations, they're talking about exclusive devotion. That's one thing that's repeated a lot. The second thing that's repeated is this sense of equanimity, being equipoised in happiness and distress. When we are in difficult situation, Govinda, please help me. If you so desire, I'm taking shelter of your lotus feet. Results are in your hands. When in happy situation, Govinda, thank you so much. You've been very kind in making the situation happen. I understand situations can change all the time. Please allow my mind to be focused on your lotus feet. Let me take shelter of your lotus feet. So in any good or bad situation, one is in that mood, I'm a servant, Krishna. I'm at your service. And that's the equanimity here. It's not being stone. Then stones would be the biggest yogis. It's not being a stone. Equanimity, that means fixed in Krishna consciousness. Regardless of ups and downs, one is fixed in one's relationship with Krishna. And that's the equanimity one's been talked about. Good things, Krishna is God, I am his servant. Bad things, Krishna is God, I am his servant. Let me do my part, Krishna will do his part. Right? I give my 100% in whatever is in my control. 99% is in Krishna's control. Let him do his part. Like Aparna was saying, losing control. Again, that part comes in here. Control, I don't have very little control. I'm a very small Ishvara. And Krishna is Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha. So he's a Parama Ishvara, Parameshwara. So he has full control. So let me do my part, and Krishna can do his part. In good situation or bad situation, I will do my part to the best of my knowledge, and rest is in Krishna's hand. That's the equanimity Krishna is seeking from us. That makes Krishna happy. That yes, he's not like when things are good, forget Krishna, life is good. And in bad situation, how can Krishna do this to me? I don't believe in Krishna. Right? That's what neophyte devotees do. Devotees who are new, their faith is called Komal Shraddha. It's weak faith, very, very delicate faith. So little hard situation, they're like, how can Krishna do this to me? I don't believe in this Krishna consciousness. Moving on. And when things are very good, they just start partying and drinking and they forget every thing about Krishna consciousness and just over, emphasize on that situation. But Krishna is saying, na kankshati, na shochati. Right? You're not hankering for the future. You're not lamenting about the past. Be in the present and do your 100%. That's Krishna consciousness. Do your 100% with Krishna in mind. Let Krishna empower you. And the rest isn't. Man proposes, God disposes. Rest Krishna will take care of. However he does it, it's going to be for our benefit. It might not always be the way we want Krishna to manifest things, right? But it will be for our best, know for a fact. Why? How do we know Krishna has the best intentions for us? How do we know?
Because he says he's a seed-giving father.
Very good, very good. He's a father. He can't do anything that is bad for us. So even if you're going through some difficult situation, understand you're a diamond being cut so that you can sparkle better. Because Krishna is putting us through a hard situation to bring out that beautiful quality that is hidden behind the dust of the mirror of the mind. He's pulling that quality out by putting us through that difficult. He will not put us in harm's way. He's our father. But sometimes father might see a child struggling through and let the child struggle a little bit, because that makes the child a little stronger, or it builds certain immunity, or it builds certain stamina within that child, right? Even a mentor or a guru does that. Sometimes, one time I was in having a lunch discussion with a brahmachari who's very fundamentalist. Is in ISKCON we have this softer devotees who are a little bit open-minded. Then there are the fundamentalist devotees who are very, very how do I say? I don't want to say close-minded, but they're like this way or the highway. So there was one of those brahmacharis. He was this way or the highway type, and he was attacking me, and we were going head to head. And my mentor was sitting at the head of the table, eating his lunch, and just watching us both, fight it out. And I was looking at him for a little support, and there was no support. He was just enjoying me getting battered and battered and battered. And then I looked at him like, hello, need help? And then he started asking certain questions that gave me a little hint that pushed me a little bit. So I went to his office after that, and I said, why did you let me struggle for so much? You gave me that little time where I was kind of struggling. Like, you need to grow up. I won't be there always in your life. So I was just letting you, use your brains a little bit, push a little bit, struggle a little bit, so that you can come to a point where, I'm always there, but I want you to also grow. Like, interesting. And that's what, father, mentor, Krishna, that is the role, is sometimes you let them grow a little bit. So when Krishna puts us in a situation where we are not happy, just know that he wants us to grow. And he doesn't have anything malicious in his heart for us, because we are aspiring to be his devotee. There is nobody more dear to him than us. Literally. He says that to even Lakshmi Devi. It's like, even Lakshmi Devi is not as dear to me as much as a devotee in the material world trying to become Krishna conscious. Because it is so hard to be Krishna conscious in this material world. He understands that. Vaikuntha is very easy. Goloka is all Krishna only. He's on his full glorious form. You cannot even think anything but Krishna. But in this material world, it's hard. And he's saying, those who are struggling in this material world to become my devotees, they're more dear to me than Lakshmi Devi. So how can he be harmful to us? No. So if there is something we feel, we shouldn't be like, Krishna, how can you do this to me? It's like, okay, Krishna, what do you want me to learn from this? What kind of quality do you want me to bring out? Please help me through this, so that give me some intelligence so that I can bring out that quality that you're trying to get me out. Right? I'll share something interesting with you. It is about my spiritual master. So I had requested him, I want to take initiation from him. And he said, okay, you should write to me reports every month, how you're doing. And I started writing report. The first report went. Now, my spiritual master is somebody who doesn't act like a VIP. He responds in literally hours, if not minutes. Right? And he has thousands of disciples, and he responds in hours, or if not minutes. So he was not responding to it. First report, no response. Second month, I wrote report, and I was kind of feeling like, Maharaj, although you didn't respond to the last email, I'm still writing to you. Third month, my tone is getting a little terse. I'm like, Maharaj, I'm supposed to be a servant, so no expectations, but it'd be nice if you respond to me. Like that, it's going on, and no responses. 4 months in a row, I tell my mentor, Prabhuji, why is this happening? Why is he not responding? It's like, I don't know, you're special. Maharaj never does that to anyone. I don't know why you're not getting any responses. So I was distraught. Literally, I was devastated. Like, why I am the only person who doesn't get any responses from Maharaj. So again, dinner conversation with the devotee. Her name, okay, I'll not say her name. And she is wonderful, wonderful Pujari. And I told her this is happening. And she said, Ajita, Avelo, at that time was not Ajita, it was like, Avelo, any situation like that, especially dealing with your spiritual master, take that as a direct training from Krishna. There is some quality that you can develop in this process. And see what is that quality in this situation that you're in, that you can develop. I thought, that's an interesting perspective. So I started meditating on that. But before that, I was praying to Krishna, give me some sign, why is this happening? And then Kirtida Mataji actually told me that try to develop a quality in this situation. I was like, okay, in this situation, what quality can I develop? And I thought, patience. Now, being an entrepreneur, sometimes we lack patience. Like, I want it now, I wanted this moment, right? I was like that with Krishna consciousness. Everything I wanted right this moment. But Krishna wanted me to learn patience. I'm like, okay, I'll be patient. Fine. That's the quality I think I can learn. And I was practicing that. And I was in Hong Kong for a trip, manufacturing and all that. And in Hong Kong, Guru Maharaj wrote to Yashodanandana, my best friend, and he and I were together. And he's like, Maharaj has written to everyone, all his God family. I looked, and I'm like, oh, I didn't get the. Did I get the mail? Yeah, I didn't get the mail. I'm like, even this I'm not getting. Wow, what is going on? So then Yashodanandan told me, let me see, but your name is there. And he said, my name is there? What do you mean my name is there? Like, yeah, it says Avelo Roy. It's there. I said, I didn't get any email. Turns out, Maharaj was writing to a Hotmail account that I used to have that I stopped using. And when I opened the Hotmail account now, there was response to report 1, report 2, report 3, report 4. I was like, holy shit. And every report I was giving a little, hint to Maharaj, like, oh, you're not responding to me, you're not responding to me. And Maharaj was like, I don't know how else to respond to you. I'm responding to you. Why do you keep saying I'm not responding? I'm like, oh my God. It was so horrible because I was feeling Maharaj is not responding to me. But it was amazing also, the moment I was praying to Krishna, because when Yashodanandan told me that he got an email from Maharaj and everybody got an email from Maharaj, and I looked at my inbox, there was nothing there. I immediately prayed to Krishna and I said, tolerance. I understand Krishna. Somehow I'm an exception. I'll tolerate this. I'll learn patience. Maybe it's not time for me. Maybe I don't deserve an email. Literally within minutes, I got the answer what was going wrong. And this experience gave me a very strong understanding that this is the way Krishna wants me to act when I'm feeling deprived, when I'm feeling left out, when I'm feeling that sense of, oh, it's unjust, or why me? Why me? Focus on a quality. There are 26 qualities of a pure devotee, right? Focus on any quality that you can develop in that situation. And trust me when I say it, it'll bring you closer to Krishna. Once you develop that quality, you understand Krishna a little better. You get a realization why Krishna does what he does. And you're like, oh my God, I feel like I know him a little bit better. And that changes everything, because your love for Krishna also solidifies as a result of that. And you move forward, and those same situations will come in the next several decades that you're alive, but every time that situation will be an opportunity to grow in Krishna consciousness, to become more close to Krishna, to develop a quality. Does it make sense? Is anybody lost as I'm sharing this?
It is beautiful experience, Prabhuji. Thanks for sharing.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much for sharing, Prabhuji. It's really awesome. We are listening.
Very beautiful class. So mesmerizing your talk is today.
Thank you, Mataji. All right. So Krishna is saying, who's equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is dear to me. So that's how we find equipoised nature, or equanimity we find in happiness and distress. That any given situation, it is an opportunity to grow closer to Krishna, to develop a nice quality, and know that Krishna loves me. He can't be putting me in harm's way. So if he's putting me in a situation, he's putting me to help me grow. And in that growth phase, there is some quality I can learn, develop, and once I do it, Krishna will change the situation instantly, right? So,
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So in this verse, it says, Krishna says, like, we should not bring difficulty to anyone. But sometimes you have like different, like difficult, strong viewpoint in something. For example, you have a video on the college education system, like what's going on, and there are some professors sitting beside you, and they are not really liking it. So, like when you come up strong with your viewpoint, obviously you are right, but then you might unknowingly or unintentionally being difficult to someone. Maybe they feel it that way. So like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, shouldn't we do this,
See,
or like, should we do it more
yeah.
often?
I understand what you're saying. So intentions matter. Even more difficult than that is firing someone, Prayash. As an entrepreneur, that's the worst part of the job, is when you have to fire someone, and the look on their face, and their family will be in trouble, and all of that. You're putting somebody in difficulty, but then you have to do your job. Now, what would you say about Lord Ramachandra being a perfect king, where he is putting Sita Devi in difficulty, right? Or he's giving justice to the person who beat up that dog, etc. So he, as a king, is giving justice, and he's putting people in difficulty, not because he loves to put people in difficulty, because he's doing what he's supposed to do. That is his job, to do right or wrong, right? As a CEO, as a king, as a leader, sometimes we have to do difficult things. Now, if the intention is, let's put that B word, in that difficult situation, that's what Krishna is saying. We don't, you know, intentionally put somebody in difficult situation just to see, aha, now you see my power, right? Versus, well, I have to give a difficult situation to this person because of my role. Let me try to make it as easy as possible. So when I'm firing someone, unless the person is really bad, I tell them, I'll write you a good recommendation letter. I will, help you find a job. I'll give you some uh, opportunities where you might be better suited than my company. In certain cases, there have been people who have been taking drugs and doing all kinds of things. I will not be writing recommendation letters and things like that in those cases. But I will be at least polite and try my best to make the bad situation as good as possible. So my intention is what matters, right? If my intention is I want to put the person in difficult situation just to make them, understand, look who you're dealing with. That's different from, hey, you know what? This is my role. I need to do this. I'd rather not, but given my situation, this is my duty. And let me try to make it as less difficult as possible. Because the Shiromani quality of a Vaishnava is Jive Daya, compassion, kindness. So we cannot forget compassion and kindness no matter what. Lord Chaitanya was compassionate too, even Jagai and Madhai. What to speak of, a common person. So the intention is, Prayash, what matters. We try to reduce the difficulty as much as possible, but yes, sometimes given our role, we might have to, being a doctor, sometimes to cut open a person to save their life, giving them difficulty to make their lives a little better. So it's kind of like that. Doesn't make sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, it does make sense.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Something you want to add? Anybody want to add anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So when you had mentioned that to the Lord, even to the Lord, the devotee is more closer to the Lord than Lakshmi Devi herself, right? Can you please tell us a story about the pastime about how Bhrigu Muni stamped onto the chest of Lord?
Why don't you share the pastime?
No, but it'll be nice if I can hear it from you, Prabhu.
I don't remember the exact details. So Bhrigu Muni was trying to see the greatness and find out who is the superior of the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, trilogy. And so when he went to Lord Shiva and he said something insulting, Lord Shiva was upset. Lord Brahma also, he tried to irritate him somehow. Lord Brahma also gave him some reaction. Again, I can't remember the details of that. But with Lord Vishnu, when he came and kicked Lord Vishnu in the chest, Lord Vishnu's reaction was, "Oh, my chest is very hard. I hope it didn't hurt your feet." And Lakshmi Devi sits on, he resides in the Lord's chest, and she got upset, and she's like, okay, he kicked you here, it hurt me, that didn't bother you, you're saying if your feet is okay. So she got upset, got up and left, and she came to Kolhapur, where she is worshipped as Mahalakshmi Devi. And to appease her, Lord Vishnu came down as Venkateshwar in Tirupati. That's where he, took the loan from Kubera to get married to Lakshmi Devi again, to appease her with all the things and everything, and be happily married. So again, I don't know too much of the details of the pastime, but that's what I know. But yeah, the Lord sometimes. Now, again, please don't see it as like, now I know some people with feminist mindset might feel it offensive, like, oh, his wife means nothing to him. Why would he do that? Sometimes what happens is, when you have somebody dear to you, you might overlook their needs to take care of the needs of those who are more needing of your help. So it's not like Lakshmi Devi is not dear to the Lord. Of course she is. But then she's anyway there with the Lord all the time. But those who are out there, what was the name, Yogeshwar, of that person fanning Varadaraj Swami? Yeah, I keep forgetting his name.
Forgetting his name.
So that devotee, he asked Varadaraj Swami. So Varadaraj was the deity of Lord, and he talks to this devotee, and this devotee asks, everybody is, getting your mercy. Will I also get your mercy and go back to Godhead? And the Lord said, well, you're fanning me. You're right here with me. Why do you have to go back to Godhead? But if you serve devotees, maybe then. So that's Krishna's nature again. He is into that in mindset, that those are directly connected to him. He sees them, they're dear to him, but those who are servant of a servant of a servant of a servant, he sees them more and he gives them more attention. And that's why we don't want to be the master, we want to be the servant, because thereby we get more attention from Krishna. Yogesh Prabhu, is that satisfying?
So, I mean, the person who was actually fanning and conversed with Lord Varadaraja was Tirukachunambi. Was his name. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else wants to ask or share? Any confusion? If not, we will continue with the next verse. Okay. Ragni Mataji, maybe the next verse.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 16. Anapeksha suchirdaksha udasino gatah vyatah sarvaramba parityagi yomad bhaktah same priya. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me.
A devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Let's see what Prabhupada has to say. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. Naturally, a devotee takes a bath at least twice a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life and he is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. Therefore, he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body is a designation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy, and a devotee does not take so much such business if it does not benefit him by advancing in his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. Anyway, so a devotee is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. That means he's not mundane like everybody else. He has a very clear intention in everything he does. In marriage, in buying a house, in buying a car, in work, in everything, a devotee has a very clear intention. Devotee does things intentionally. And the intention is to get close to Krishna, to build a Krishna conscious environment, no matter what, right? Like I have a habit of naming my cars in a Krishna conscious way. It reminds me, it's not just a certain brand or a certain show off or whatever. It is a car that is a vehicle for serving Vaishnavas, to serving the cause of Krishna consciousness, right? So a house, the most prominent part of the house is a temple, right? So it's a reminder, it's Krishna's house. So like that, things we do, things we buy. So the intention is very, very clear. So one is not mundane like common people, where they're just doing because Shamaji ka beta is doing it, but they're doing it with intentional purpose. Who's pure, expert, pure in thoughts and consciousness, right? Not like, okay, I'll do this for pretending, I'll do this for showing off. Pure as in inside out is the same, right? What I say is what I mean. Expert. So devotees by default, Krishna gives them empowerment to have certain levels of expertise. If you see Srila Prabhupada, he was expert at writing, he was expert at cooking, he was expert at singing, he was expert at deity worship, he was expert at management, he was expert at whatever he put his fingers to it. A pure devotee is expert at pretty much everything they do, because they're always praying to Krishna, my dear Krishna, please empower me. And Krishna empowers them because they're surrendered to Krishna. And by default, by that empowerment, their expertise comes in. So this particular verse is referring to a pure devotee. Don't feel bad if you're not there yet. You know, most of us are not. But it is good to know what makes Krishna happy. Without care. What does without care mean? Doesn't mean that you don't care for anyone. Without care, as in, we're not bothered by happiness and distress. We expect happiness to come after distress. We expect distress to come after happiness. One of my god sisters, she's now 80 years old. She she was working for the New York mayor, New York City's mayor's office. And suddenly the mayor said, oh, we are cutting funding, and in this department everybody's going to get fired after a month. So everybody was like, oh, we're going to agitate, we're going to do this, oh, what's going to happen, da-di-da-di-da. Everybody's going nuts, and she's just continuing her work. So her boss, her immediate boss kind of asked her, like, how are you so calm? And she said, well, okay, I'm getting paid to do the job, so I should do it. Next month I won't have the job, so I'll be focusing on whatever I'll have to do next. But right now I'm being paid to do this, so I can't waste time agitating and this and that. I should do my duty, and whatever happens next, I will have to take care of that. After work hours, I will look for a job or whatnot. But right now, this is my duty, and I'm going to do it. And she's like, "How are you not bothered by it? You know, this anxiety, what's going to happen, the future, finding a new job, all these problems." And she gave a very Krishna conscious answer, that I know the Lord that I pray to will take care of me. So I'm not worried. I'm not bothered, but I'm not worried, right? So I'm doing my part, and I'll also look for a job after work hours, and I'm sure something will work out, whatever that is. So that's the nature of a devotee. Is we don't go nuts over things. Bad things happen, good things happen. We're like, this is expected. This is the material world. Free from all pains, because we don't connect ourselves to that pain. We know we're not this body. So if somebody is saying something harsh, doing something harsh, somebody's having some disease, like, hey, it's expected. We know this. Bhagavad Gita talks about it. So we don't get bogged down by such happiness, distress, pain, and things like that. That doesn't mean we don't empathize. That doesn't mean we don't help people when they are in difficult situations. But a pure devotee is detached from what happens to this body or what happens materially. Because pure devotee's concern is, am I Krishna conscious or am I forgetting Krishna? If I'm forgetting Krishna, that's a problem. But if I'm Krishna conscious, everything else will fall in place. no matter how ups and downs things go, eventually things will fall in place, because that's how the material world works, right? So that's the nature, that's the realized nature of a devotee, one who understands Bhagavad Gita principles, understands, and thereby is not bothered by these problems. We are not there yet, but we can at least aspire to be there someday. And not striving for some result, right? Again, this doesn't mean we're ambitionless. We do give our 100%, we do set goals, but we don't get attached to the result, like Krishna talks about in chapter 3 or 4. 3, I think. But Krishna repeats it multiple times that have a goal, but don't get attached to the results, because the results are in my control, not in your control. And let me do my part, you do your part, right? So it's just repetition of what has already been spoken. And Krishna is saying, no one is not striving for some result is very dear to me. Right? So one is doing one's part with the goal in mind, but not attached to that goal. I hope that is clear to understand. No, it's 8:30. So I'll end here and we'll start from 12:17 next Friday. I hope everybody's having a happy Kartik. Take care of yourself, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna and have a good night, everyone. Happy Kartik.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Good
Krishna,
day.
Prabhuji.